Everything that you're putting out there in the marketplace should be about fixing their problems, helping them from staying up at night worrying about their problems, and how you can, it's a very, simplifying your message, making sure that everything that you say is about them and how you fix their problems, not about you. So a lot of times in tech, we get it wrong. We want to talk about technical jargon. We want to throw up a diagram. We want to, we want to overcomplicate it, but really all people care about is how you fix their problems, how you make their problems go away. Okay. Who is this girl that keeps sending me emails and telling me to join her webinar? That's me. Hey, everybody. I'm Laura Johns. I'm the founder of a company called The Business Growers. And for the last 19 years, I've worked exclusively with telecommunications, IT companies, and managed services providers to help them build predictable marketing systems that actually generate growth for your business. So you'll hear me refer to MSPs. You'll probably see the word MSPs on slides, or IT businesses. But truthfully, if you're a business selling to another business, then this is applicable for you. So whether you're an MSP or IT business, or you have someone that is, if you get value out of this today, feel free to forward them the recording. If you registered, Grace, give me a thumbs up if I'm right on this, but if you've registered, you will get this recording. So, okay, awesome. All right, so thank you for joining. We're going to talk about building predictable revenue growth. But like I said, who is this girl? Before I started the Business Growers, I was actually this chief marketing officer at a managed services provider business. I was, like some of you, doing marketing on my own, trying to figure out how to get people interested in a very, what some might say, boring product. I say it's the lifeline of our business, right? So, but others may say it's not so fun. I have a lot of peers, other agency owners that are selling to plumbers and painters and lots of other things. I think IT is pretty amazing and something that, is never going away. So everybody give me a thumbs up for having a business that's only going to continue to grow and thrive, right? That's the best thing about what we do. I want to share a quick story about how I think about business growth. And this has a lot to do, if you see my logo, you'll see there's a little plant icon in my logo. I am not a green thumb kind of gal. My mother is. I kill everything inside of my home other than my children. They're alive. And my husband, he is alive today, but we'll see. We're 11 years in, so still working on that. But I once had a plant. I was about 3 months postpartum. If any of you have children and a wife, you probably remember those times, or maybe they're all a little fuzzy. But I had a plant in my home that looked great to me. But when my mom came to help me out with my newborn, he noticed something was wrong with my plant and that I couldn't see. And she basically at some point dumped the plant in the kitchen sink and said, "Laura, this plant is root bound. The roots underneath underneath near the bottom were just tangled and confined and really preventing any real growth." And that's truly a big part of the reason why when I started the Business Growers, I said, hey, I want to put a plant in my logo or some sort of symbol that shows that what might appear healthy on the surface when it comes to business growth could actually be constrained if the foundation isn't healthy. And so what we're going to talk about today is how we're going to be able to achieve real sustainable growth and not be root bound like that plant. That plant is still today thriving. So I feel like that's, worth saying. Okay, so we're going to talk about ground rules real quick. I know that everyone's busy. Type busy in the chat if you're busy today. Would love to see if anybody is not busy. If anybody on my team is on here and is not busy, let me know. I'll be glad to, send you some things to do. Just kidding. I know we're all busy. So ground rules for today is just be here now. Look, you've shown up. You're here. You have decided to commit an hour to this. So be here. Put the phone on silent. My husband just texted me, I need my son Wyatt's social security number ASAP. We're at the doctor. And I said, I'm on a webinar. I'm about to turn my phone off. Leave me alone. So, put on your participant hat. Be here now. Phones on silent. Everything can wait. Just shut out distractions because this is really going to be important. And honestly, your questions and engaging is going to be really important as well. But for the next 60 minutes, I'm going to show you a framework that's helped dozens of IT companies get aligned on exactly what they need to set that stronger foundation for growth. You're going to learn how to build a marketing system. And some of you on the call, we are doing this for you, which is really, really cool. But we're going to talk about how to build a marketing system that helps you get consistent leads, shortens your sales cycle and helps you close some of these, what we would call really, bigger contracts, bigger than, $100 quick fix for another company. For you, it's these more substantial contracts. But most importantly today, you're going to walk away with a practical 90-day plan that you can start implementing immediately. You might need help if you don't have in-house support, but either way, you can start doing this immediately. So type the word ready in the chat if you're ready to take some things today and apply it in your business as soon as you get off this webinar. I want to see who's ready. Love it. All right. Awesome. Okay. If you've been on a webinar with me, you've seen this before. Okay. But this is the most important thing that we all get on the same page about before we get started. Okay. We are not here today for a quick fix or a Band-Aid on a sales problem. Okay. I've shown this on my last 2 webinars, and I might show it on everyone this year because I want everyone that sits here today to understand what the key to predictable revenue growth is. And it's understanding your buyer's journey and meeting them where they are every step of the way. Okay. So statistically, buyers engaged, I think it's actually 74%. This is a different statistic, but 74% of B2B or IT buyers are actually doing research online before they ever talk to somebody in sales. Okay. And that's this day and age. 20 years ago, the door knocking worked really well. Today, they're doing the research online. But also, I want you to see this. This is kind of what they're going through. Okay. This is what your buyer is going through. They may today not even think or know that they need you. Okay. So if of your entire 100% buyer population, at any given time, statistically, 3% is ready to make a purchase decision. So the 97% that are not ready to make a purchase decision, they sit somewhere on this spectrum, right? So we are working to get them from an unaware, clueless buyer all the way to ready to buy. And unfortunately, folks, that doesn't happen with one email. Okay. It doesn't happen with one social media post or one phone call. So this can be overwhelming to people, but what we're going to talk about today is how to set a foundation in the next 90 days to make sure that we are paving the way for you to show up everywhere they are, from the point where they are unaware to they know that they need a solution to their problem and they know that you offer that solution. And then when they come to you, it's a much less of a, put a 1 in the chat if you're in sales. Anybody in sales or marketing? All right. So some of you probably know, and I'm in sales too, just so you know. So some of you probably know what it feels like to get on a sales call with somebody who doesn't even know they have a problem. And then you probably also know what it feels like to get on a call with someone who is having an actual catastrophe and they are burning hot and ready to buy. Which one would we rather have? 1, if you'd rather have the unaware buyer, or 2 in the chat if you'd rather have the person that's burning hot and ready to buy. Of course, they're panicked. I see Mark going, I don't know. Their expectations might be a little alarming if they're like, everything's shut down. But you see my point. Even, okay, let's just say they don't actually, nothing's broken, but they've recognized a problem. You're not having to show up on the sales call and convince them of anything, right? And so that's where you've really got, where the magic happens, is that when you do the work and you set this foundation up like we're going to talk about today, then they are, the appointments that are getting booked on your calendar are appointments where people show up. They don't ghost you. They show up because they've already gone through that entire process of going from unaware to aware. And we do that with marketing. Okay. All right. So the current state of your marketing, I want everyone to look at these kind of 2 sides. You're going to see both traditional, and some of you might be a hybrid. Some of you might be more, and we're not talking politics here, but some of you might be more left leaning. Some of you might be more right leaning. This is not a political webinar. This is truly just kind of looking at this. And again, I have MSPs. I know some of you are telecom, or some of you are servicing telecom. So, but it all still applies. So, traditional marketing, traditional structuring of your business might be referral only growth. You can read, but you might be using some generic messaging. You're not really directing your copy or your content or what you're saying at one particular buyer. You might be still doing some break fix, just to get the bills paid. You might be pursuing anyone with a pulse and showing up to sales calls where people are, freezing cold and don't even know that they have a problem. Or you might be doing what I call the modern approach to marketing, which is what you see on the right. If you feel like you are more left leaning, type left in the chat. If you feel like you are more right leaning, type right in the chat. And if you feel like you're kind of somewhere in the middle, give me a hybrid just so I kind of see where we are before we level set. Okay, good. And if you don't really know, then that's okay too. Okay. So we're actually going to look at this. If any of you have been on a sales call with me, you've seen this before. But this is our solution at the Business Growers to really what you need to build your foundation. This can be kind of overwhelming to people, but these are the things, if you look at this little wheel that I'm showing you right now, these are the things that put that, if you remember my unaware to aware buyer, that put all those little dots into motion. So we're gonna go through 30 days at a time, how to make sure that you have a 90-day game plan set up and get the right things in place. Some of this will actually require you to audit your current environment. If that is the case, then you need to stick around and stay till the end, because I'm going to give you something very valuable that you're going to want, a tool to do that. But you got to stay till the end to be able to get it. So, all right, who's ready? Type ready. Ready. Okay. This is your 90-day game plan for in the next 90 days. So let's say we're starting February 1st and we want to set our business up for sustainable growth that doesn't require us to have to exhaust ourselves pounding the pavement, right? That's what we're trying to get to. Okay, so in order to do that, you have to lay your foundation. Remember, we talked about those roots, right? Then we're going to talk about building your reputation. All of these things were on that wheel I just showed you. And then we're going to talk about starting acceleration in the 61 to 90 days. Laying the foundation entails all these things. Again, if you stick around, this will all come full circle at the end. But these are the things that you have to do to make sure. And if any of these are off, then these are your next steps. So you might want to take some notes if you have something to take notes, typing on your computer, make some notes. But these are the things that you need to do in the first 30 days. This is your 90-day game plan. This is day 1 through 30. And we're going to start with client persona. Have any of you, and you can just raise your hand, thumbs up, whatever. Have any of you ever done any persona work? Okay, good. Tyler, good. All right. So it sounds like Tyler was also said he was more right leaning earlier. So it sounds like Tyler's got some of this groundwork laid. That's great. So the very first baseline step into communicating really, really well with your buyer. Have you ever looked at an ad on Facebook? Because we all know Facebook follows us around, right? And thought that ad, like, how do they know? How do they know that I wake up every day and think about this? Or how do they know that I go to bed every night and think, because the copy is so good? It's because they've dialed in their buyer and they've done targeting correctly on Facebook. So they know exactly who you are, where you are, and what your needs are. So if we don't dial the persona in exactly who this person is, we call it ICP, ideal customer profile. We refer to it a lot in our business, but you need to actually sit down and ask yourself questions. Where is this person? What do they look like? What do they buy? Where else do they go? Where else do they shop? How old are they? We give them names. Ours is Tim at the Business Group. We actually identify that person so much that they have a name. And then we do at the Business Growers, and we do persona work, we actually do a whole document just about that person so that we understand everything about them. So that when we write ad copy or social copy, there's no question whether or not this speaks to our ideal buyer. And somebody is going to say, well, we got 2 buyers or 3 buyers. I know some of you think you do, but you can dial it into one. I always say, if you're ever not sure who your buyer is, go look at your bank statement and figure out who pays you the most money. That's a really great place to start, right? Okay, so I love this book. I have a couple books that I recommend. This one's Building a Story Brand. We do exercise called brand messaging. There's also another book that I cannot think of right now. Grace, you know my other book. I'm trying to remember it. There's two books that I recommend, but we'll put the other one in the chat. I can't remember. I may have it in here. But building, your brand message is making what you say on your website, in your communication, in your emails, everything you say. And I love the Donald Miller approach building a story brand, because it is 100% messaging to your current ideal customer that has nothing to do with how great you are. So everything that you're putting out there in the marketplace should be about fixing their problems, helping them from staying up at night worrying about their problems, and how you can. It's a very, simplifying your message, making sure that everything that you say is about them and how you fix their problems, not about you. So a lot of times in tech, we get it wrong. We want to talk about technical jargon. We want to throw up a diagram. We want to, we want to overcomplicate it, but really all people care about is how you fix their problems, how you make their problems go away. So persona work, number one, to laying the foundation in those first 30 days. Secondly, would be doing this brand messaging work and also making sure that your brand assets all look the same. And I know this sounds simple. However, I always say this, there is a reason that when my two boys were 2 years old, they knew Target, they knew, some of their Chick-fil-A, they could say it, they recognized the brand. If all of your materials look a lot different, it is almost like you saying a bunch of different things. So, make sure that your identity lines up, your messaging lines up, and all of your messaging is centered around fixing their problems and something simple, not overcomplicating it. Don't have a huge diagram about how, you fix their IT and what, all that looks like and what you have to do. Nobody cares. They just want it to work, right? They want to show up and make sure that their computer turns on. So what we do at the Business Grower is another great thing, and AI is a really great tool for this because you can actually look up, and I'm going to give you another resource here in just a few minutes, but understanding what those keywords and search terms are. We'll talk about SEO in a minute, but going ahead and creating some of these messaging pillars around what those problems are, what people are searching for, and building a solid foundation. That's kind of the second step. Systems. We all know that systems are really, really important to making stuff work. What does systems mean when it comes to marketing? That means making sure that when someone fills out a form anywhere, it goes to the same place. Seems simple, but if somebody's got a spreadsheet over here, they're keeping up with stuff, and then somebody else has got a HubSpot login or a CRM login, and somebody else is keeping up with it on their, Rolodex, and then somebody's got their cell phone, we're really not able to nurture people who are interested in our business if it's not all going to one place. So I recommend, we have a CRM that we offer. I recommend making sure that everybody on your sales and marketing team is rowing the same boat in the same CRM. We know the same contacts. We can pull a list easily, identify that. That is actually something, surprisingly, that MSPs, IT businesses, we get backwards a little bit, is our systems and software. It's really easy to start a really, really messy foundation. And then and I've seen it before, so I'm telling you, you get 10 years into your business and you realize how many leads you've lost or how many contacts you've totally ghosted because Joe Bob 16 years ago was in a system, or, 5 years ago was in a system that we don't even have access to anymore. So getting this right, and it doesn't take that long, 30 days is enough, but getting a system that everyone can use, and it doesn't matter. I mean, ideally, it would be a good CRM. If you can't afford it, get a spreadsheet for now, but just make sure everybody's in the same place, right? Ideally, in your CRM, you would have the ability to do lead tracking. I'll show you some screenshots in a minute of how we do it at the Business Growers. And then, of course, you want to build a website and make sure, like I said, that all of your automations make sure that when there's a form filled on the website, you've got an alert that tells somebody. The worst thing you can do is have somebody say they're ready to do business with you and you don't have a way to know that you're supposed to follow up with them. So systems in place. These are just a couple of recommendations in terms of list building. A lot of times we get that CRM and then we've got a hot mess when it comes to where our leads are coming from, right? You can start with your current customer base as an upsell lead list. So that's one, because you could certainly say, hey, how can we add more value to these customers with other products and services? You can also grab your local Chamber of Commerce list, any of these memberships that you're a part of, organizations that you're a part of, or you can go buy them, right? So Apollo, Zoom Info, I don't know where everybody is revenue wise, but Zoom Info and Apollo are expensive. They're not cheap software. They're good. You know, they have other tools added. I'm a big fan of Coldlytics, and Grace, if you don't mind popping our Coldlytics link, it's just go.thebusinessgrowers.com/Coldlytics. You can use my referral link to look it up. Great. You only pay for what you need, and you don't have to pay every month. You can just pause it, stop it, and get what you need. But it also, I like Coldlytics because um, it's also human vetted. So it takes a couple days to get your lead list, but they're going to give you really, really good information, and it's going to be very high quality. So that's a great affordable option. But again, you can't, when I say building your foundation, lead lists are important. I can't go retarget anybody. I can't go find lookalike audiences with my ads. I can't do email campaigns unless I have lead lists, right? So that's kind of a good, and like I said, current customers are a good place to start. I talked about CRM. Here are some samples of those. You want to make sure. And the good thing about CRMs, I know a lot of us are using, ConnectWise or whatever you're using for ticketing and whatnot. Ideally, it would all be together, but also in most MSP environments, 20 million or less in revenue, you're probably going to be looking at a sales and marketing CRM. And then once that lead converts, putting them into your in ConnectWise or whatever. That's just what I'm seeing a lot of. It doesn't have to happen. There's obviously alternatives, but to have a good sales and marketing CRM and database, you got to have those lists in here and then know who your current customers are. And again, CRMs help you tag these contacts. So you're not sending your current customer a prospect email, right? We don't want to do that. It's embarrassing. And then your sales dashboard. This is, again, spreadsheets aren't ideal, but if you got to use them. But the great thing about a good CRM is it tells you, if your salespeople ever say they don't know what they're supposed to be doing, you can say, go look at all the contacts that haven't been touched in 30 days, right? And then a converting website. So again, we're still days 1 to 30. So you might need a little help if you can't do all this yourself, but make sure that you have a really good scalable content management system, which is where your website is built. A lot of people I see either do one of those like, national based, they do the same website for everybody kind of companies. And the challenge there is that it's kind of a carbon copy scenario. And this is kind of a catch, is a lot of times these marketing companies, we don't do it, but a lot of marketing companies will say, well, if you fire us, website goes too. And so make sure that whatever it's built on, one, you own it. And then two, whenever it is built on something that other people can use, because I like WordPress because it's universal. Anybody that knows development can go develop a WordPress website. But a lot of times these, different companies might trick you into getting into something that you don't know, other people don't know how to use. And that's intentional, but just make sure that you got let me go back, a good high converting website. Big challenge we have, a lot of times we'll throw pictures of servers up on the website. If your customer is a hospital administrator or your customer is a law firm owner, would a server speak to them, or would somebody sitting, at a desk doing business closing deals speak more to the attorney? That, an actual human face, real people. Again, you're solving their problems. They're not really worried about the complexities of what's behind the scenes of what you do. So just make sure personal. We love authentic images, real people, your team, smiling faces, nobody stressed. We're not worried about IT. Everybody's happy because we fix all the problems there are to fix, right? So we need happy people on the website. You want a picture of what the person can expect to look like after they do business with you. That's what you need a picture of on your website. Golf course, I don't know, whatever it is, just relax, pop in a cold beer on a Friday. I don't know, whatever it is, but not really, but you need authentic, local, if your business is local images. You need to make sure you have location pages for every city that you service. You need to make sure you have a separate page for every single service that you offer. That's really important. A lot of times we like to blanket it with one page. You need to make sure that every page on your website has more than 500 words. That's not on here. That's a free tip, but Google won't index it if it doesn't. Chat's great. Testimonials. If you have really good Google reviews, make sure that we have a widget on there that shows all your 5 stars up high up. I like to say trust badges, any certifications that you have, any awards that you won, put those high up because that makes somebody feel a lot better before they start scrolling down. Again, if you work specifically in a niche or an industry, if you serve only healthcare or only law firms, put that up at the top. Make sure that they understand that you are, they are in the right place, right? Clear calls to action. I'm not a real big fan personally of learn more, get started. I mean, like save money today. Okay, I'm going to click that, so get real specific with your calls to action. Make sure you have, map functionality. If people come to you, a lot of times they don't, but if you do have a location, map functionality will help with your Google search results. And then mobile website, 80% of people are looking at your website on mobile, more than likely. So make sure that you have a good, mobile first design. And then these are just search engine optimizations, like must haves. SEO can be a lot. I don't really get into more details until phase 2, but at the very, very minimum, your Google business profile, make sure that you're posting, there's updates to what, what times you're open. If you're 24/7, put 24/7. If you're 8 to 5, put 8 to 5. Make sure your Google business profile, which used to be called Google My Business, make sure that's updated. Make sure you do have those service pages, like I just said, individual service pages, location pages of where you serve, and make sure you know what keywords are important to your buyer so that you can put content on your website that's going to rank. And I show a little graphic here of when this is not related to your industry, but this just shows you the local pack results. So the map pack there at the top where people are going to see if they're looking for, IT provider near me, they're probably going to be more likely to type in IT services or something like that, less likely to type in managed services provider because not a lot of people know that's what you're called. They're just looking for IT help. So you want to make sure that you've got your Google Business Profile in order and that your Google Business Profile is optimized so you can pop up in that Mac pack. And then those organic results pop up right under. This is not the gift I promised you, but this is a gift. Grace will put this in the chat. If you're not really sure what keywords you need to make sure are on your website, we have a resource for that. So you're welcome to grab it right here. And Grace is going to put a link in the chat so you can go download that. Is everybody with me? Any questions? Y'all can unmute and ask questions if anybody wants to. We're about to get into the next 30 days. Do I have a question? Okay, Grace, yeah. Grace said, when you download, be sure to check your spam. Just make sure, because it's going to come as an email to you. So make sure you check spam. Y'all are the hardest people to send emails to, just saying. Everybody, that firewall be getting me all the time. All right. All right, moving on. There was your cheat sheet. Okay, that's the first 30 days. I would say do not press go, do not move forward, do not collect your $100 until you have those things, whatever it is, until you have those things figured out. Okay? If you're not sure how to do it, we'll have an opportunity for you to get in touch with me after this. But that's the first 30 days. Bare minimum, you need that. Until you have that, don't move forward. All right, now, if you're like Tyler, who's on the right side of that graphic we had earlier, and he's like, oh, Laura, I've had all this for years. Got it. All right. So now we're going to talk about building your reputation. Remember earlier I said we're not here to put a Band-Aid on a sales problem. We're not here to do a quick fix. We're talking about sustainable growth. We're talking about when somebody Googles you, you showing up. That doesn't happen overnight. You want to be showing up everywhere where they're looking for you. So lots of places you can do that. Here in my business, we're on YouTube, we're on social media, we're posting blog content, we're at events and trade shows. And I'm not knocking real live in-person stuff. I'm just saying it takes a combination of all of it, right? So in this next 30 days, we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to amp up our SEO, do a little bit more than your Google Business Profile and your keywords. We're going to get a true, what I like to say, content distribution plan. We're going to start reactivating our database, which means we're going to start taking all of the people who we never closed or haven't heard from in a really long time and giving them an incentive to re-engage. Okay. Reputation management is building up. How many people here, put a one in the chat if you have a really, really good system for Google reviews? I'd love to know. You're doing it well. You feel like you're doing it well. You give yourself an A plus. I don't see anybody yet. It's tough, right? And we want to make sure that we have a system and automation set up. 0.5 for Tyler. Good. All right. I was counting on you, Tyler. But you want to make sure that you have a system built into either your ticketing system. When you close a ticket, it sent. Now, this is scary to send a Google review link whenever you close a ticket, or, because it may not, but there are ways to reinforce, I don't want to say gate, but kind of gate bad reviews and make sure if it's a bad review, it comes back to you before it goes to Google if you do a review funnel. So we like to do that for our clients. Social media, I mean, to be honest, I own a marketing agency and I kind of hate social media sometimes. It is a bit of a necessary evil because when people are looking for you and you haven't posted since 2016, you are no longer relevant, unfortunately. And social media, I don't personally think that organic social is going to close the majority of your deals in 2025. I do think that it's going to help people validate your brand and help them see you as a resource and thought leader. So you should be putting out content that just helps them. Just help them. Maybe they need a free handbook. Maybe they don't have a handbook for their business, right? Maybe they need an org chart template. Doesn't have to be 5 reasons why your IT closet needs to be cleaned out. I don't know. It could be, but just give them something that's relevant to whoever the person is. That maybe it's an office manager that needs support. Maybe it's that CEO of a small business. Website lead tracking is important. I'll show you how we do that, but we actually have a tool here at the Business Growers, a software that we use that allows our clients to see anywhere between 25 and 50% or more of the people who are actually coming to their website, gives them names, gives them a contact email. You want to, be able to do that. That is possible. And why would we not want to do that? Real-time lead alerts. When somebody's on my site, I want to know it, right? I want to know it stat. If you call them in the first 5 minutes, your chances go up 80% of closing the business. And then just really good reporting. If I'm an owner of a business, I want to be able to refresh and look and see what's happening. And just a good reporting dashboard of what's going on in the business. If I had a nickel for every client who told me what this guy on the right is saying, these are my 2 favorite things that our clients say is, hey, if you can just get me ranked top of search on Google by tomorrow, that'd be amazing. My second thing, my favorite thing is, hey, how do you go viral? Man, if I wish that I could make everybody go viral. It is not something that there is a formula for. I can guarantee you that, unless you're Taylor Swift. I don't know. But again, it does take a little bit of time. You'll see here in that deeper level SEO phase, start thinking about, not everybody is ready to do the deal, right? So we need to provide content on our website through blog posts, through social media, all of these different. If you're willing to do a webinar or host a podcast, these are great ways to take these keywords that I just gave you a few minutes ago and then figure out at every level of the funnel. And I say funnel like a marketing or sales funnel, but if you think about it, looking at things this way as a funnel, you need to be creating content for people who are unaware, closer to the unaware side, maybe somewhere in the middle, and then ready to buy. So you can see here on the right just some examples. And again, you'll get this recording, you can look at it, but just some examples of different types of content based on what they might be searching for. And these are actual examples of titles. Now, you can take this to a tool and figure out exactly what your next 12 titles should be for informational, what your next 10 titles should be for commercial, what your next 10 titles should be for transactional. But we need to be creating layers of content for different parts of the buying cycle. And this just shows you, again, kind of on the technical side. Some of you may be very familiar, some of you may not, but we want to make sure that we're doing what we can control on our website, creating those pieces of content, putting it on our website. But also there's a whole lot of value in off-page SEO, which is what can get people to our site from other sources. Is there a piece of blog content? Is there a really, really hot topic in business right now that I could contribute to our local chamber newsletter or to the Healthcare Association of Kentucky? Or, these types of things. It does take effort, but to be able to, Adara on my team, Adara, raise your hand, waved everybody. I love that she compares it this way. You know, if I'm new to a town and I ask where I should get my hair done and 10 people tell me to get my hair done at the same place, guess where I'm going? Google works the same way. If all of these really reputable links are telling me to go back to you, then I trust you. My trust meter just went way up, right? So off page is also a really great SEO tactic that we use. Again, getting in the weeds, but making sure that you've got this is actually one of our worst offenders. We'll find people have really, really nice looking websites when we start working with them, but none of the metadata is complete. So we want to make sure that we're not ignoring the kind of the intricacies of the website, and that we're making sure that all, the images have titles, making sure that we've got, all those details worked out on the back end of websites as well. And then I mentioned this earlier, review funnel. We want to make sure that we have a really clean way for people to leave us reviews. We like to do a landing page where they can go to and click the 5-star, and that takes them straight to Google. But if they click anything less than the 5-star, it takes them to you. Or can you tell us why? So that they're not immediately going to Google and then leaving you a 2 or 3-star. We give them kind of a gate for that. And you get a notification so that you can reach out to them pretty quickly. And then social media. Okay. Who hates it? One in the chat if you hate social media. It is kind of, I think, the bane of many business owners' existence. I personally like to show up on social. Okay, I'm waiting on you, Tyler. Come on. You don't hate it. He loves no, he loves it. I love it. I don't know if Tyler likes it or not. But one of the things that we mess up on a lot in the IT world is that we get so busy we don't have time for it. I get it. But also last minute posting the same graphic over and over of a server or a laptop without a human in it. Social media is people are nosy and they want to see what's going on, and they're getting on social media to get a glimpse into learning about humans. And so put humans in your social media, and it's hard. And if you can't afford to do it yourself and you can't afford a marketing agency full service to do it, I promise you that there is a high school student in your local area that for $200 a month or $300 a month would absolutely love to go on site to a couple of your clients and take some pictures and get some real images. I got some clients on here that'll see I'm giving them little shout outs here, but these get way better, these types of images get way better engagement than your laptop picture. So, and then lead tracking. This is just a couple of screenshots of any of you I think Kenny, you're on there. You'll see we've got literally, if anybody here, basically, if you're here today, I saw that you were going to be here. I saw that you clicked on something. Sorry, that was a little scary, but I am very hyper aware of who's engaging. You can do things in good CRMs as sophisticated as lead scoring, which this is on more the advanced side of it, but how many times somebody interacts, you can actually score them based on how interactive they are. But we want to make sure that we not only know who's digging us, but also who's interested in what. This is great intel for your sales team, right? And then reporting. In this 30 to 60 day time frame, we want to be able to see if we're spending money on ads, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. That's really kind of a later thing. But if you are investing in your marketing, if you're doing it right, we want to see the fruits of your labor. We want to be able to look at 30 days at a time and make comparisons. So all of these things are great and good, but if you aren't able to see what's happening, this is where it's strange, but we miss a good reporting tool, then you're going to, not be able to see what's working and what's not, right? So you want to be able to see that. This actually is in the next, so I should have moved this to the next 30 days. So right here, that's day 31 through 60. Any questions? Everybody good? We got about 20 more minutes. So we're going to get to the last. This is where I really consider this acceleration. This is where like the true lead generating systems start. This takes more of an investment of time. It takes more of an investment of resources. This is what people come to me and is all that. If I had a dime for every time somebody said, Laura, all I want is lead generation. Really? Who doesn't? We all want that, right? But the worst thing we can do is build an ad campaign and start spending money on Google and take them back to a website that is garbage or that's not converting or that's not interesting to them or that's not doesn't have good images and is not speaking their language. We want to make the most of every dollar that we spend in order to do that. These first 60 days of foundation building, they are really, really, really important. So pushing the gas pedal means doing things like social ads on LinkedIn, more expensive. Facebook also we utilize for a lot of our clients. You're going to get more conversions on Facebook. You'll probably have to weed through those a little bit more than you would LinkedIn. LinkedIn more expensive, typically really highly qualified. Also Google ads for intent, really good. If you have the budget for all that, even better. Starting to really utilize email marketing. You have your lists, we set up automations, we tag everybody correctly, and then we just start rolling emails. And then lead nurture is one thing that we do for our clients, which means if somebody fills out a form on an ad, let's make sure we don't just put that in sales hands and forget it. Let's make sure they keep hearing from us forever until they tell us to stop, right? They're giving you an email address in exchange for whatever resource it is that you're giving them. So we want to make sure we continue to nurture them. And then LinkedIn automation, I just showed a little sample here, but we're kind of layering that as a lead gen tool along with our ads. Steve at RCCIT just emailed me, said he couldn't get on the call. So Steve, this recording is a shout out for you, but you'll just see some samples of ads that we're doing for our clients. You want to make sure that, again, you're speaking to them. We do both what I call top of funnel and bottom of funnel. Not everybody's ready to buy, like I said. So you want to make sure you're giving kind of maybe it's a free resource here. Maybe it's a handbook. Maybe it's, that org chart I was talking about. Give them something, get their email, continue to nurture them, retarget them, get back in front of them until they're ready to buy, right? This is just a sample of email nurture, but we want to get those notifications set up on the front end so that when somebody does download it, we still have a salesperson calling. Hey, I saw that you just downloaded my 7 tips for blah, blah, blah. Just want to check in. And then this is kind of just a sample of that nurture email, making sure you're nurturing with value. So this is this was not, again, not the resource that I promised, but another resource Grace can throw in the chat here, which is just, hey, here's a quick health checklist. Very similar to what I just walked through. But if you just want to do it yourself and say, okay, we got this, it's something you can print out and check through, and the things that you don't check, circle those, that becomes your plan for this year, right? So I want to hear from you. If you're willing to talk, I'd love to hear it. But that gives you a 90-day roadmap. Is it overwhelming? Not overwhelming? No? Tyler's like, got it all done. He's like, what else you got for me? I would love for you to take either your notes, a document, whatever it is. Thank you, Abby. Thank you, Tom. Take your notes or wherever you can make sure maybe you task yourself, email yourself, whatever, but I like to say 3 things. I think I have it on the next slide. Yeah. What are the areas I need to focus on the most that Laura just went over? Maybe it's the very first, maybe it's persona. Get that done first. Maybe it's brand messaging. Get that done. Just put a couple of takeaways right now. Make a little mental note. What are a couple things I can focus on? And then what will I start working on before the end of January? What's one action plan I can put in place before the end of January? And then here's a little, can't write on my screen, but you can give yourself 3 things you can do, your top action items. And if anybody needs accountability, y'all can email me and let me know. I can certainly check in on you. And then I think the next one's it. Yep. Okay. Drum roll. Drum roll, everybody. Here it is. Okay. I'm offering, this is the actual very first time that I've offered this ever on a webinar, ever anywhere. I'm offering a 360-degree digital marketing audit, which includes, it is an investment of your time because it includes you go into this link and filling out the audit, checking, it's basically the health checklist, but it's digital. So you're going to be checking off everything you've got. If you don't have it, be honest. I don't want, I want it to be as real as possible. And then we're actually my team is going to invest their time in putting a plan together to grade you and give you an A, B, C, D, E, or F, and then talk through what your next, if you're not sure where to start, or all this is overwhelming, or I don't know what I need to be doing, do this audit, no cost to you, and then we will schedule a session and do a full hour one-on-one talking through what your next steps are, what holes, what gaps need to be filled. So first time offering it, really excited about it. Grace and Erica on my team worked really, really hard to get it together quickly so that we could offer it on this webinar. It's our first webinar of the year, so we wanted to do that. Go ahead and put, if maybe you're not the right person to fill this out and you have a marketing team member, sales team member, somebody else, take this link right here and send it to them. Everything will be automated so we can get the information, and then we'll get that growth session set up and we'll give you your grade and tell you what you need to work on next. All right. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and thank you for all the great feedback in the chat. I appreciate all of you participating. Any questions? This is it. This is open for anyone who wants to ask questions. We got 12 minutes. We don't have to sit here for 12 minutes, but also I like to save a couple minutes just for questions to refer back to anything. Links, Grace, I think you put the link in there. Yep, she did. The marketing audit link is in there. Any questions? Feedback, thoughts?
I have a question about like what are your best outcomes for MSP clients from like a lead generation perspective?
We're getting LinkedIn automation is working. Also, very similar to what works well for me is what works well for my MSP clients, to be honest. Everybody's, business owners are busy in general, so trying to get their attention. Again, kind of going back to ads, it always is going to be the combination of the digital and the human, in my opinion. Digital can carry a very heavy lift and get you there. These lead notifications coming from things like LinkedIn ads, coming from things like if you're doing webinars, webinars are really great, and podcasts. Or actually had a meeting last week, somebody who saw my link to book a meeting in the show notes of a podcast. It is, again, a heavy lift, hard for people to do, but if you set the automations up right, and we're doing like a LinkedIn automation or an ad, and we'll get a lot more, obviously, conversions on the free resource versus the book a meeting, because you're asking for a lot if you're asking for like a meeting to be booked. But a lot of times that nurturing between the free resource and we're just sending them value via email. The combination of sending those nurture automations, letting the salesperson know when they click on something, and then making the phone call, all of that working together so it's like kind of between the lead generation online piece, the email nurture, and then the salesperson, being aggressive enough. Honestly, where we find, I would say, kind of the biggest gap is when we are like, one of the big things we've actually just started doing is here are our non-negotiables as your marketing partner. Because if I'm sending you leads that you're too busy to follow, maybe we're just working with an MSP who's founder led and they don't have a sales team. That's not a good fit for us typically, because we need somebody who's willing to grind and nurture just like we're doing. Because like I said, it's not, you saw that graphic of the unaware to aware. It's not just the one touch. It's oh, they downloaded this, then they heard from the sales team, then they get 3 free resources, their email, that, it's kind of the combination of all of it. But I would say lead generation with a hungry salesperson, that combo, really works, whether it's LinkedIn automation or LinkedIn ads. We are finding Facebook ads, you would be surprised. You would be surprised. A lot of people are like, let's not do Facebook. And I'm like, you watch. So, but it does take time to dial it in, make sure we get the right buyer and, that type of thing, make sure the resources, speaking to your particular audience, that type of thing. But yeah, it's a combo.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Mhm. Anything else? Tyler?
Okay, Laura, can you guys
Yeah.
hear me?
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey.
okay, it's like, finding something out of a blue because I thought like this webinar is related to medical staff professional because I'm the co-founder of Doctor Billing Experts. It's more like a medical and revenue cycle management. But
You,
out of the
you
blue,
clicked
I
on the
found
wrong, you clicked on the wrong
yeah,
link. What's your name?
wrongly. Yeah. So it's like finding something, out of a blue, but finding something that is more expensive than a diamond because I got a lot of information. And
Good.
I just hired a team of IT guys, like the SEO and digital marketing guys, and I contemplated all the information that you said. And I'm pretty sure that I've got a lot of knowledge about this and how we can just, like tackle all these things and make some kind of a marketing plan for our
Yep.
guys and bring out something, how to nurture the leads and how to do the lead generation in my orbit, like, medical billing, revenue cycle management, and healthcare. Hats off to you guys, really. It's a joke for
Yeah.
me, but hats off to you guys, all of you. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for that.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Well, I'm
really
sure
appreciate it.
if you ever need an IT person, I'm sure there's a good one on this call. So
Yes, definitely, definitely. I'm really open for all the information. I'm really open to have a conversation about like more helpful thing from the marketing side and the IT side. Definitely.
yeah.
So I think I have already submitted my email address also, so I will be getting in touch in the
Awesome.
future
Well,
also,
good. You will definitely hear if you submitted your email address, you're gonna have to tell me to stop before you quit hearing
Re-
from me.
No problem.
So.
Take care of yourself, guys. Take care.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Any other questions before we go today?
Hey, David, just wanted to say hi from the other Zoom call that I'm on over here. He's
Hey.
listening in and he said he hopes that we would pass a 360 digital review if you guys scored us.
I sure hope so. I give you an A+ already. You don't even have to take it. Don't spend your
All
time.
right, perfect.
Thanks, Kenny. Well, it was awesome. This was great. Everyone knows how to get in touch with me if you need me for anything. I hope that you all do take advantage of that 360 digital audit. Would love to spend time with you all individually. And I hope that this does add value. This is my goal. Again, this is a really good example of, whether I get a client from this particular webinar or not. This webinar is going to go on YouTube. It's going to be, chock full of keywords. We're creating blog content out of this webinar to serve as resources using transcripts, using AI tools. So this 1 hour that I spend with you guys is fun for me. It's one of the most fun things I do. I get to interface with folks that I love to work with. And then also it turns into content that is going to be useful for months and months and months and years, really. So this is a really good example of how you can use your time. And again, with all the tools that we have today, really kind of expand on that. And Tyler, like you said, what's working, if I can find an IT person who's willing to do a podcast or webinar, and also who's willing to do it for a particular niche or industry, that packs a lot of punch. So that's another little extra, thing that really does help.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, everyone.
Actually,
Yeah. You got another question? Go. We got
no,
time.
I was gonna say I'm actually on a podcast at 7:30 tonight, so I totally hear you.
Perfect. Good. Well, you have to tune in. You'll have to let us know what that podcast is. Email me and let me know. I love listening to podcasts. So. All right. Thanks, everyone. Good luck, Tyler. Y'all have a great day.